Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have That's right, a whopping 6 NBA player props to go ahead and share with you guys in tonight's NBA slate. We're going for it today, guys. What can I say? I woke up feeling dangerous. I got 6 player props that I'm really excited to share with you guys. But first, before we dive into today's picks, a quick little recap of how we did last night. Jumping on over to GuyBostonSports.com, here is our recap from last night's slate. And look, overall, it wasn't a good night, but it also wasn't a bad night. We went 2-2 last night. The Mikal Bridges prop and the Şengün prop cashed without a sweat. Unfortunately, Wembanyama missed very nearly. He finished with 31 points plus rebounds. Just didn't have a ton of rebounds last night in that matchup against the Lakers. He scored 23 points. Yeah, it would have been nice if he scored a little bit more, but ultimately it just wasn't in the cards for him last night. And then Buddy Hield, what a massive disappointment. He did finish with 8 points, so he was in the vicinity of cashing. He shot 3 for 12 from the floor and 2 for 9 from three-point range. That's an annoying loss because the data was there. You know, the information was correct. It's just the guy could not hit a jump shot to save his life. Very unfortunate, but like I said, guys, it wasn't a good day, wasn't a bad day. If you look at the units last night, 2-2. We literally broke even. No units lost, no units won. We're now 96 and 87 on the season. Not good, not bad, but I think we can do way better. I think we're due for a really solid night, a nuclear night, if I may. Call me crazy, but I really did wake up this morning feeling dangerous, feeling like I was ready to conquer the world, and felt like I was ready to cash some mother effing bets. So let's not waste any more time, guys. Let's dive right into today's NBA picks. Jumping right into the outlier screen, guys. Before we start the picks, go ahead and comment Guppy down below if you're still watching at this point in today's video. I know it's a little early on, but I want to go ahead and shout out the Guppies. I see you guys. I've been seeing all the comments down below, and I get it. We've been cold. When we're winning and when things are good, the Guppies, they sit at the bottom of the ocean, and they're quiet, and you don't hear from them. But the minute they smell a little bit of blood, and there's a little bit of blood in the water, those Guppies, they come flying up to the top, and they've been eating good the last week or so. We're going to silence the Guppies today, so comment Guppy down below if you are watching this video at this point today. Guppies beware, I'm coming for you today. First player prop in today's slate comes from the Thunder-Sixers game. By the way, one more thing. Shout out to the commenter who commented on the Christmas tree yesterday. If you guys can't see in the back, the Christmas tree is gone. The Christmas tree curse. Maybe that's what was causing some things. The fact that we let the Christmas tree stay up for too long. It's not been removed. My Pat Patriot helmet is back up. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So let's see if removing the Christmas tree from the equation makes things better. But all right, first player prop, guys. Thunder Sixers, 7 p.m. tip-off. We're going Tyrese Maxey of the Philadelphia 76ers under 3.5 three-pointers made. This prop is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. We're getting this one. It looks like the best value on DraftKings or BetMGM or Bet365, where it's available for minus 115 odds. And as always, guys, the final plays and the units, Jesus, that was bad. The units put down on each individual bet will be in the pinned comment on that article on GuyBostonSports.com. We'll put in the pinned comment so you guys can go ahead and tail along all the plays. All right, the data on this prop is absolutely fantastic. You see 8 of his last 10 games, Maxey has cashed this under an 80% hit rate, averaging 3.2 three-pointers made per game over his last 10 games. Even if you want to go ahead and stretch that data out, it's still pretty solid. Over the last 20 games for Tyrese Maxey, a 65% hit rate on this under, 13 out of 20 games, averaging 3.25 three-pointers made per game. So far in 2024, again, a 65% hit rate on this under. 20 out of 31 games, he's cashed it, averaging 3.19 three-pointers made per game this season. Now, the overall data is pretty solid, but the other reason why I love this prop in today's slate is the matchup that he has versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, look at the head-to-head data here. Very small sample size, but the last time that he played the Thunder back on November 25th of 2023 last year, he did hit 3 three-pointers in that game, but he did not hit 4, which obviously is the key. And it was not for a lack of trying. He took 9 3-point attempts in that game, but shot 3 for 9 from 3-point range. And look, that's the thing to note here. His volume of 3-pointers attempted is obviously very high. Look at the last 10 games. He's averaging about 9.6 3-point attempts per game over the last 10 games. Some of these games are getting really high. Like this game, 14 3-pointers attempted, 14 3-pointers attempted. My man chucks threes. That's the truth. Even on a slow day in the office for him, he's chucking at least 6 or 7 threes in a game. But if there's one team you don't want to do that against, it's probably this team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Overall, the Thunder, they are the second best team in the NBA in terms of allowing 3-pointers made to opposing teams. Teams are not hitting many threes on this Thunder team versus point guards. Third best mark in the NBA, giving up just 2.8 3-pointers made per game to opposing point guards. And even shooting guards, which is where Maxey plays his minutes, right between the 1 and the 2 spot, they're number 1 and 3-pointers allowed, just giving up 3.4 3-pointers made per game. So you have the best perimeter defense against guards in terms of 3-pointers allowed. And Maxey's, he's not shooting terribly from 3 this year. He's shooting 34% from 3, which is not awful, I guess. It's not going to win him any awards, but it's a pretty decent mark. But obviously with the way the Thunder play defense, I just don't see him having a great night hitting 4 threes in this game. You also have the insights provided by Outlier. Tyrese Maxey has failed to exceed 3.5 3-pointers in 7 of his last 8 games in general, giving up averaging just 3 3-pointers made per game over his last 8 games, an 88% hit rate. So across the board, this looks like a really solid prop. Again, for minus 115 odds too, seems pretty good value. The matchup, the overall data, everything across the board seems green to me. Really like this prop to start off today's video. All right, guys, next up, we're moving on to the Pelicans-Bulls game, 8 p.m. tip-off. I actually have 2 player props coming from this very game. The first of 2 coming from this Bulls-Pelicans game is Coby White over 22.5 points plus assists. We're getting this one for minus 108 odds on FanDuel, so pretty good value there. And the data is pretty solid. 7 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 70% hit rate, averaging 24.9 points plus assists per game over his last 10 games. He actually had cashed this in 7 consecutive games going into his last meeting with the Washington Wizards on January 10th, where he finished with 15 points and 6 assists. It was a blowout win for Chicago. And obviously, because it was a blowout, he only played about 28 minutes in that game. It was a narrow miss. Normally, he's averaging about 33 minutes per game this season. If you gave him an extra 5 or 6 minutes, he only missed it by 2. He definitely cashes that over if he plays his normal minutes, but of course, it was a blowout in that spot, so he didn't play nearly as much. But the volume here is really good across the board. You see, he's taking about 15 shots per game. He's shooting about 47% from the floor, taking about 8 threes per game with 9.2 potential assists per game. So across the board, we got some pretty good data here on this Coby White prop. And in 2024 overall, a 61% hit rate on this over. 22 out of 36 games he's cashed it, averaging 23.11 points plus assists per game this season. He had a little bit of a rough run here through the end of November, through most of December, but since the new year, especially in the end of December, he's really turning up a notch. But I like this prop. He's been cashing it pretty consistently of late, and the head-to-head data is not fantastic. You see just one of his last 3 meetings with the Pelicans, he's cashed the over, a 33% hit rate, averaging 24 points plus assists per game. He has played them one time this year, back on October 23rd. He had 10 points and 6 assists in that spot. That October 23rd game, whatever happened there? Little Sopranos reference for you guys there. Horrible Italian accent, but a little Sopranos reference for you guys. 4 out of 13, that's what happened. 31% shooting from the floor. He did take 13 shots, which is still a little bit lower than his normal, but he shot 4 for 13 from the floor. The Bulls did lose by double digits. He did have only 6 potential assists also in that game. So yeah, so not very good numbers that last time out, but the matchup seems to be pretty solid. Look at the overall numbers for New Orleans this year. They are not very good defensively. They are bottom 5 in the NBA in both points and assists allowed overall to opposing teams versus point guards in particular, which is where, of course, Coby White plays. They are bottom 3 in both points and assists allowed. So it seems like a really good matchup. Of course, we know that last time these two teams played, he did not cash the over, but the potential was there. Again, he shot 4 for 13. He hits a couple more shots. He maybe grabs a couple more assists, and we're talking a different thing. He only missed it by about 7 points plus assists. He's shooting the ball about 47% from the floor, and he took about 13 shots. So, I mean, if he hits 2 or 3 more shots, we're possibly talking about a cash here. The good thing, I think, is that the volume is there. He took a lot of shots in the game. He just didn't shoot the ball well, but the matchup seems solid. The overall data seems solid. For minus 108 odds, too, I'm willing to take the chance here on Kobe White over 22.5 points plus assists. All right, guys, on my second prop from this game and my third player prop overall in today's slate, we're going Nikola Vucevic, the old reliable Nikola Vucevic over 28.5 points plus rebounds. Guys, I'm taking advantage of this prop before he eventually gets traded to a team where his volume is not going to be nearly as high. Rumors of a trade to the Lakers, rumors of a trade to the Warriors. If he goes to either of those teams, I do not expect his numbers to be anywhere near where they are right now. So we're taking advantage of the fact that he's still a Chicago Bull today and taking this over. He's been a cash cow for us this year. We've basically hit almost every single time we've taken him this season. Nikola Vucevic over 28.5 points plus rebounds. We're getting this for minus 105 odds on BetMGM. It is, of course, available on multiple sports books for varying odds. And the data is solid across the board here. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 60% hit rate, averaging 29.4 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. So far in 2024, a 74% hit rate on this over. 28 out of 38 games, he's cashed it, averaging 30.29 points plus rebounds per game. You do see over the last 15 games or so, a couple more red spots there, but overall, a lot of green on this spot. He's having a really solid year with the Bulls. And for Chicago, that means obviously his trade value is going on up, which is obviously really good for them. We also have the insights provided by Outlier. Nikola Vucevic has exceeded 28.5 points plus rebounds in 6 of his last 7 games versus bottom 10 defenses for rebounds allowed. And he's averaging a whopping 34.3 points plus rebounds per game in those last 7 games against bottom 10 defenses for rebounds allowed. And again, the right side of the screen here, you do see New Orleans 26th in the NBA in terms of rebounds allowed, giving up 45.8 rebounds per game in general to opposing teams. So really good numbers here for Vucevic. We also have the head-to-head data, which is definitely better than Kobe White's data. He's cashed in each of his last 2 meetings with the Pelicans, 2 out of 3 of their overall, their last 3. That didn't come out correctly. 2 of his last 3 overall versus New Orleans. He's cashed a 67% hit rate, averaging 26.67 points plus rebounds per game. Now, they played again that one time this year, back on October 23rd, where Kobe White failed to cover. Nikola Vucevic did. 21 points and 11 rebounds in that game. And again, the matchup versus centers, look at the right side of the screen here. The Pelicans, 22nd in the NBA this year in points allowed to opposing centers, giving up 19.3 points per game. But the more important thing here is the rebounds. They are 30th in the NBA, the worst rebounding team in the NBA against centers, giving up 14.2 rebounds per game. Honestly, if Vucevic just does what the average center is doing to them, you've got a pretty good spot here. So I like the fact that he already cashed it once this year. He's cashed each of his last 2 meetings. 74% hit rate overall this year. And we're getting this for minus 105 on BetMGM. Yeah, I'm absolutely riding with this prop. All right, guys, moving on. Our 4th prop in today's slate comes from the Kings-Bucks game. 8 p.m. tip-off. We're going De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings over 25.5 points. We're getting this one for minus 115 odds here on FanDuel. Looks like the best spot to take it in the data, like a lot of the other props today. Pretty solid. 8 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, an 80% hit rate, averaging 28.1 points per game over his last 10 games. Even if we go ahead and stretch the data out to the overall season view, now it's not as sharp as the last 10 game data, but still pretty solid overall. 53% hit rate on the season, 19 out of 36 games he's cashed the over, averaging 26.64 points per game this season. He had a really rough stretch at the end of November through the beginning of December, the midway point of December, I should say. But since about December 16th, you see pretty consistent cashes for him over the last 10-15 games or so. Overall, the data doesn't look half bad. He's got a pretty good matchup here as well. Look at the head-to-head data real quick versus Milwaukee. You see each of the previous 2 meetings with the Bucks, both taking place last season. He did cash the over in both those games, averaging 30.5 points per game against the Milwaukee Bucks. The matchup is just too sweet to not go ahead and take. 30th in points allowed. The Milwaukee Bucks are the worst defensive team in the NBA in terms of giving points up to opposing point guards. Damian Lillard, can he still turn on offensively sometimes? Yes, he can. Can he guard anybody? Absolutely not. And De'Aaron Fox should feast on this matchup against him. 30th in points allowed, giving up 27.2 points per game on average to opposing point guards. Such a great matchup spot here. He's already cashed the last 2 meetings. Overall, we see green on the year for De'Aaron Fox. Seems like a really good prop for minus 115 odds too. Pretty good value in this matchup. All right, guys, got 2 props left. Both of them are coming from this Denver Nuggets Dallas Mavericks game, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. Our 5th prop overall and our first prop from this game is Michael Porter Jr. over 22.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. A little bit of juice on this one, but honestly still pretty valuable. Minus 125 odds on DraftKings DraftKings is what I'm taking it for. Of course, it is available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. Considering that this is a player prop that's minus 125 odds, the data is fantastic across the board. Look at the last 10 game data. 9 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 90% hit rate, averaging 27.6 points plus rebounds plus assists over his last 10 games. As a matter of fact, if you go ahead and stretch this data out to the last 20 games, you still have an 80% hit rate. 16 of his last 20 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 27.3 points plus rebounds plus assists per game over his last 20 games. Michael Porter Jr. had cashed his over in 11 consecutive games going into their last game against this very same Dallas Mavericks team just 2 days ago, where he did miss the mark. He finished with 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist in that game. But that miss the other night does not deter me from going ahead and riding with this prop here. Overall in 2024, an 84% hit rate on this over. 32 out of 38 games he's cashed it, averaging 27.89 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. To have an 84% overall season hit rate on a prop and getting it for minus 125 odds, that's a gift from the gambling gods. Now, why are we getting it like this? Well, because of the fact that he missed it the last game out, I'm sure the line might be a little bit brought down. Whatever the case may be, I'm not deterred. I'm going to go ahead and take it here. The head-to-head data. He also cashed it in 3 of his 3 consecutive meetings with the Mavericks going into that game the other night, where he did obviously have a miss. All the data just points to he had an off night, but it's green across the board. Really good numbers for Michael Porter Jr. You see 4 of his last 6 meetings with the Dallas Mavericks, he's cashed the over. It's a 67% hit rate, averaging 25 points plus rebounds plus assists per game over his last 6 meetings against the Mavericks. They played 3 times just this season already, back on November 10th, November 22nd, and of course 2 nights ago on January 12th. He's cashed the over in 2 out of those 3 meetings. The insights provided by Outlier kind of just paint the same picture I already told you guys. He's cashed the over in 11 of his last 12 games, averaging 28.2 points plus rebounds plus assists per game over his last 12 games. Again, a lot of green there. Overall, look at the right side of the screen here. Dallas on the year, they're a middle-of-the-road team in terms of defense. 14th in points allowed, 19th in rebounds, 15th in assists. Versus small forwards, which is where Michael Porter Jr. plays the majority of his minutes, you see they're 15th in points, 16th in rebounds, and one of the worst teams actually versus small forwards, 28th in assists. He didn't miss the mark by that much in their last game. He finished with 18 points, rebounds, assists. He was 5 short, but look at the numbers. He only played 25 minutes in that game, which obviously is a little bit low for him. From a shooting perspective, he took 13 shots, but he only shot 5 for 13 from the floor, just 38%. And he had 9 rebound chances in that game, but only grabbed 4 rebounds. So the moral of the story being there are more opportunities for him to go ahead and increase those numbers, especially if he plays more minutes, which again, if we look at the overall numbers for the season, over the last 10 games, he's averaging 33.5 minutes per game. That 25-minute performance is a little bit on the lower side. Obviously, we have seen a couple games there where he has obviously been on the lower side, but across the board, he's averaging a lot of minutes played. So I don't see, unless it's a blowout, why he would play that little again. I like the spot a lot for Michael Porter Jr. Ton of value on this prop. All right, guys, and our 6th and final prop in today's slate, again, sticking with this Nuggets-Mavericks game, 9:30 p.m. tip-off. I'm going Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets over 23.5 rebounds plus assists, which we're getting for minus 105 odds on DraftKings. If Caesars is available to you, you can actually get it for plus money over on Caesars. I don't have Caesars in my state, so we do have DraftKings, so minus 105 on DraftKings is what it's going to be. Look at the numbers here for Jokic. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over. A 60% hit rate, averaging 23.5 rebounds plus assists per game over his last 10 games. So far in 2024 for Jokic, a 55% hit rate on this over. 18 out of 33 games, he's cashed it, averaging 23 rebounds plus assists per game. You do see, though, over the last 6 games, he's cashed the over in 5 of his last 6 games. He's been putting up some pretty solid numbers of late over the last week or so for Denver in this category. And the head-to-head data is not half bad. A 50% hit rate over the last 6 meetings, but in all 3 meetings so far this season, he's cashed the over. So a 100% hit rate this year versus the Dallas Mavericks. And you see consistently 33, 27, 27. He's averaging more than 28 rebounds plus assists per game against Dallas so far this year. And that does make sense when you look at the matchup here. Versus centers, the Dallas Mavericks, 20th in rebounds, 21st in assists allowed to opposing centers. Take a quick little journey with me here on that last game on January 12th versus the Dallas Mavericks. Look at the potential assists. So he had 22 potential assists, which is he's averaging about 18.6. So to get 22 is obviously pretty solid. Rebound chances, 27 rebound chances. So a lot of opportunities. He had a total of 49 rebound plus assist chances their last time out, and he finished with 27. So he had an opportunity to get way more than even what he had. He had 18 rebounds and 9 assists. He could have gotten even more based off of the chances. Again, 27 rebound chances. He had 18 rebounds. He had 22 potential assists, and he finished with 9 assists. What that tells me is there is a ton of opportunity in this spot for him to do even more than what he did last time. But even if he just does that, we're happy with that. Look at the overall data versus Dallas here. Now, we don't have a ton of all the potential assists and all the rebound chance data, which obviously hurts us a little bit here, but it does seem to show like a couple of their matchups here: 27 rebound chances, 27 rebound chances, 17 potential assists, 22 potential assists. The minutes played are consistently in the ballpark of like 35 plus minutes. And he's averaging about 14.5 rebounds per game across their last 6 meetings. Again, so far this year, 18 rebounds, 17 rebounds, and 18 rebounds. It just seems like a really solid spot. The one thing to note is that he is a game time decision with an illness. He's kind of been sick for the last week or so. I still think he's probably going to play, and if he plays, he should go ahead and cash this over. So that's our final prop in today's slate. And I did throw a lot of information and a lot of player props at you guys, so I'm going to go ahead and run through them real quick and recap what we gave out in today's video. Again, these are not parlays. I want to go ahead and reiterate that. This is not a parlay. These are player props to bet as single bets. If you want to parlay them, by all means, go ahead. I am just here to provide the insight, to provide the data, to provide the information for you guys to make the bets that you want to make. If you don't like a pick, don't tail it. If you like a pick, tail it. It is what it is. I give you guys the information. You go ahead and decide what to do with the picks that I give you. Parlay them. You can't really tease player props, but parlay them. Bet them straight up, whatever you want to do. It's all your prerogative. All right, so 6 player props we handed out. We had Tyrese Maxey under 3.5 3-pointers made. We had Michael Porter Jr. over 22.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Nikola Jokic over 23.5 rebounds plus assists. Kobe White over 22.5 points plus assists. Nikola Vucevic over 28.5 points plus rebounds. And De'Aaron Fox over 25.5 points, just straight up, just points. And again, these plays will all be posted in the pinned comment down below. You'll go to GuyBostonSports.com. It'll show all the plays listed out, and we'll show the link to this page here. You can go ahead and click on the link in that Guy Boston Sports page, and you can go ahead and add all these to your bet slip very easily. Click Add to Bet Slip, continue in browser, give it just a second here. Loading. And look at the right side of the screen here. Now, all the picks are loaded up that are available on DraftKings, I should say. They're all loaded up here on the play sheet. And again, you don't have to parlay them. You can go ahead and cut some out, whichever one you don't want. If you don't want to take the Maxey prop, you cut that out. If you don't want to take the Vucevic prop, you cut that out. But they're all loaded into your sportsbook. It's all you have to do. It's very simple. It's very easy to go ahead and follow along. So yeah, that link will be in the pinned comment down below. Longer video because we had a lot of picks to go and share with you guys. Thank you very much, as always, for watching one more time. Please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. Make sure to comment Guppy down below. We're going to make the Guppies, we're going to make them hungry tonight. They're going to starve tonight. We're not going to give them any sort of food tonight. We're going to go ahead and silence the Guppies. I can feel it. I feel it in my bones. Also, make sure to check out Instagram and TikTok at Tassos Picks. I will be posting a parlay today that will also count towards, obviously, the overall season record. So go ahead and check that out. Follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at Tassos Picks. Guys, until tomorrow, I'll be back with another NBA player prop video. Hope you're all winners. Enjoy your Tuesday. Let's go ahead and silence those Guppies.